Hello and welcome back to Crazy Rove Studio. In this video, we will look at how to deploy a PHP based dynamic website on Google Cloud Platform's App Engine. App Engine is one of the serverless compute services that is available on GCP. App Engine supports different runtimes which includes Node.js, Java, Ruby, C Sharp, Go, Python, and PHP. Or you could also get your own language runtime as a container on App Engine Flexible. There are a lot of features and functionalities that App Engine supports, but in order to keep this video as short as possible, I am not going to go through all the features and functionalities except for the two main functions or features that I think are advantages in App Engine. First is that this is a fully managed service, which means that we do not have to worry about anything else other than our code. So GCP is going to manage the platform for us. The second and the most important for me though is the cost. The App Engine scales automatically and also scales down to zero when there is no traffic to your website, which means that you are not charged all the time. My last month's bill was around 20 rupees, but again, my website is not that busy. Again, depending on how frequently your website is accessed or how busy your website is, your cost might vary or change. Now let's take a look at the configuration side of deploying a website on App Engine. So the settings for App Engines are defined in a YAML file called app.yaml. This is one of the most important configurations that you want to consider as you are deploying your application to App Engine. The app.yaml file also contains information about your app's code, the PHP runtime, and entry points. For this demo video, I have created a website and let me take you through the directory structure of this website. So if you want to use PHP version 7 and above, then it is mandatory for you to use a front controller for routing the request to the correct PHP pages. So in my website, that particular front controller is index.php. So now if you look at my directory structure here, the index.php is in the root directory, and I do also have a couple of directory within which I have placed my website pages. The vendor directory is for the supporting modules that gets downloaded. This is because I am using data store in my website. So the data store is used basically to store the number which is getting displayed on the screen and to read it and update it and place it back. Now the external packages can be downloaded into the runtime using Composer. So you can list all the packages with the respective version. Here I'm using Cloud Data Store as I mentioned to store the count which is going to be displayed on my home screen. Because we are going to use one of the GCP service which is the data store, we need to provide the credentials in order to access this. So within PHP you can also use any of the GCP services like the data store, cloud storage, or Cloud SQL and so on, but all these will need a credential to be stored, and the credential is via a security key for the service account. So to create the security key is pretty simple. So the security key is for a service account. So I'm on my GCP console right here. Let's click on the menu and go to IAM and admin, and under this we go to the sub section called service accounts. Now the service accounts is again just like a regular account, but it is basically used to provide permission to a service to access another service. So if I want to create a service key for this, first of all make sure that you have assigned it the relevant uh, authorization, which has to be done under IAM here. So to generate the key, you can come to the respective service account, click on the action on the right hand side here, and then click on generate key. You always need a JSON key, so you highlight JSON by default. That is what is highlighted, and then click on create. So this is going to create a service key, and it is going to provide you that service key. If I show you my app.yaml, that service key is right here, which I have renamed to permitme.json. So now in order to use the service key, you have to use an environment variable called Google Application Credentials, which is defined here under the environment variable element. So the environment variable element of your app.yaml defines all the environment variables that you want to use within your application. On the app.yaml, you will also see a number of other elements defined. So let's go through the ones which are required. So the ones which I have here are all the mandatory elements that you have. There are also a number of other elements available, so you can check that with the link that I have given in the iCard and also in the description. You can click on that link and go ahead and check the different elements that are available. So there are three main category of elements that you can configure within the app.yaml, which are the runtime element, the scaling element, and the handler element. The runtime element is the first three elements that you have here. So runtime element basically has an element called runtime, which defines what environment do you need to get your application running. So I have already showed you in the earlier part of the video which all runtimes are supported in App Engine standard. So there is App Engine flexible as well, wherein you can create your runtime and place it within a container and import that container into the App Engine runtime. But for App Engine standard, you have a standard set of runtimes, and here I'm using one of those supported runtimes, which is PHP. The version of PHP that I want to use is 7.3. Again, the different runtimes that you want to mention here are available in the same link that I have provided earlier, which is this right here. So if you go to the top of the page, you will see all the different runtimes that are supported. So if you want to run Node.js, you can just click on Node.js here, and it is going to show you how that particular runtime element value has to be provided. The next element is service. So service is not usually mentioned if you want to use the default service. So the having a default service is mandatory. So only in case you have an additional service that you want to deploy, or an additional app that you want to deploy to the same project, only then you have to mention a service and a custom service name. So in my case, I have named the service as App Engine Demo. The next element is the instance class. So the instance class is the type of compute instance that would be running on the background. You will have to choose this wisely and carefully, because the instance class that you select is directly going to impact the cost on your app engine. So there are again a number of instance types which is available on the same web page that I had shown earlier. The next is the automatic scaling. So there are two types of scaling, and this is now the other category of element that we're talking about, wherein we have automatic scaling, manual scaling, and basic scaling. So automatic scaling is wherein you just allow App Engine to decide when it has to increase the instances or decrease the instances depending on the load. And you can, however, provide how many instances should be minimum available and how many should be maximum. This is again to control the cost on your app engine. The maximum instance that I have configured is 1, because I don't want a lot of cost to be accumulated on this particular service. So that is 1, and the minimum instance is 0, which means that it is going to scale down to 0 when there is no traffic on your website, which in turn means that you are not going to be charged during that particular window. And whenever there is a request, the App Engine initiates an instance and loads the page, and it happens very fast. There is no lag, or there's hardly any lag anytime. The next category of elements is handlers. So handlers is a list of URL patterns and descriptions on how a request should be handled. So an app engine can handle URLs by executing application code or by serving static files that are uploaded within the code, such as images or CSS or JavaScript. So if you have defined any static handlers, you must also define a handler for all other application traffic to route to an entry point. To route to an entry point, specify the path to your front controller within the entry point element, or use the script element if your app contains a public slash index.php or index.php, which is what I have used. So if you look at the handler list here, this is my static content, which is the CSS and the images. So whenever you're using any static content, you have to use the parameter within your handler element as static directory. The secure always is just to make sure that only HTTPS can be used to access the contents here. We also have the images which are defined here. So in my case, the images are within the image folder, and that is what this particular definition here defines. Here it is stating that any request for a static image file within the img/image name URL pattern, then the static images will be looked up inside the image folder. And it also states that you have to upload all the images that are within the img folder during deployment. The next is the one which says that any other requests have to be handled by the script auto. Auto here simply means that we are using a default front controller which is either public slash index.php or index.php. So this is my front controller, which is pretty simple. So what this says is if I have a URL pattern which matches slash php underscore files, then that has to be directed to this particular folder or this particular file. If it is slash prod, then this particular file has to be updated. If it is slash ads.txt, this has to be updated. If it is slash, which is the root, which is basically your landing page, then it has to include or display home.php. For any other requests, it's simply going to show you the 404 message. So before I go ahead and show you how to deploy, let me also show you my home.php, which is this. So as you can see here, I'm using a PHP script inside this, and all this does is it connects to my data store, pulls the data store count, and then adds 1 to that count, and that in turn is displayed here on the page. So if I can show you my data store, if I go here, let's show you our data store. How does that look like? So data store that we are going to use is visit, and if you can see, the current count is 78 because I've already deployed this during testing, and that is what I already have. But for this demo, let's go ahead and deploy. Deployment of an app in App Engine is pretty simple. Use the command gcloud app deploy. There are again certain prerequisites for this. The gcloud SDK has to be installed, and you have to do the initial configuration, which is to providing the credentials and so on. And once all that initial configuration is completed, only then you will be able to use the gcloud command to deploy your app. So let me go ahead and say yes, and this is going to update all the files. And at this point, if I go into my app engine, which is right here, and go to services, as I mentioned, I have a default service and demo service. So let me go into versions, and for my app engine version, it's still not reached here. So you can see that the last one I had deployed is on November 6th, and today is the November 23rd. I'm going to pause the video until the deployment is complete. Now you can see that the deployment is almost completing. So right now the site is there, but the traffic splitting might be happening at the moment. Yeah, it's completed. Let me go ahead and refresh this. Okay. And to access the URL, it is pretty simple. Go to services, and all you have to do is click on this option here, and that URL is also mentioned in your deployment completion summary. So all you can do is just copy this, go to your, so this is already launched, so if I can paste this here. So every time you refresh the page, the count is going to increase. So that is how this dynamic website works. There are also a couple of other files that I have, which is, see, if you have .php, then it goes to the file within the PHP folder. Then I also had prod. Again, that's almost the same, no difference in the display of the website. And in case I try to access something that is not there, it'll go to the 404 or the page not found. So this particular demo website is on my GitHub. I'm going to post a link to the repository in the description so that you can go ahead and fork or clone a copy of the website and test it out for yourself. So even when you're using GCP in the trial period, and you can get used to it, you can also deploy your website during this period. You can also change the URL. For example, if you have a website that you want to map to the website that you have deployed within the App Engine, make sure that that website has to be deployed as a default service. And to map this particular URL to your domain, you can go into settings, go into custom domain, and then say add custom domain, and complete this configuration, and you will be provided a DNS record. And you need to mention the DNS entries in the DNS wherever you have the service purchased from. So this is how you can very easily deploy your PHP website on App Engine for a very low cost, or if you're using the trial version with no cost at all. Thanks for sticking with me till the end of this video. I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions or comments, share it with our community in the comment section below, or you can drop me a message at my Twitter account. I will see you on another video. Goodbye.